Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Fucked. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. Today we're going to be going over somebody who got screwed over by Venmo, and I want to talk about when this started. This didn't start with the time of this person getting scammed. This actually started about 7 years ago with a PayPal policy change, and I'd like to walk you through that as well as the history. So comes from a person on Reddit who said, I just got $1,200 from a random person on Venmo. Update. So he has his account at negative $33.88. Somebody sent him $1,200, and he says that he doesn't know the person who sent it, and he never solicited that money. It was a stranger who sent him $1,200. The stranger then filed a claim, and as a result of that, the person who received that $1,200, that never solicited the $1,200, now has a Venmo balance of negative $33.88. The reason for this is because on Venmo, there are fees. And while there may be fees of $0 for certain personal payments, if the sender identifies the transaction as for goods and services, there's a fee, typically about 2.9 or 2.99%, something like that. So what PayPal did many years ago is they normalized the idea of not refunding the fee. This is a video from 2019. PayPal keeps the 2.9% fee even after refunding the customer now. So back in the day, there used to be about two main fees that you would get if you were accepting credit cards. One of them was a flat rate transaction fee of about 30 cents. So every single time I swiped somebody's credit card, I paid 30 cents. And the second was a transaction fee, which was anywhere from 1.3% to 3%, depending on what you had negotiated with your merchant service provider. So the 30-cent fee, whatever, I'm not going to go crazy over 30 cents. The 2.9% though is a big deal. I sell products and services that are anywhere from a few $100s to $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000. So if somebody makes a purchase of $2,000 from me and they actually purchased the wrong item and they want a refund, now if you do what is 2.9% of $2,000, that's $58. That's real money. If I refund a customer and I tell them, I'm not sending you the product, but I'm keeping $58, that is a 1-star review. Anybody who says otherwise just hasn't run a fucking business. I don't give a shit what you put in your terms of service. Best of luck explaining that to somebody. Or I could eat the $58 fee, in which case I'm just going to raise the price that I charge all my customers accordingly because I can't afford to just give away money. This was not something that was normal, but in 2019, PayPal normalized it. They normalized the idea of not refunding the larger transaction fee when you refund a customer. And I've done several videos on this. Stop using PayPal now. PayPal keeps a 2.9% fee after refunding the customer. How's PayPal planning to get away from this? And today is your last day to dump PayPal. And when I did those series of videos, some of the most popular comments and emails that I were receiving were from people saying, why don't you just charge your customer the fee? Or you're just complaining because you're a business owner. This doesn't affect normal people. Well, PayPal owns Venmo. The way Venmo works is even though there are no fees for certain types of personal transfers, there are fees if a sender identifies a transaction as for goods and services. It is the sender that identifies the payment that way, not the recipient. And when you look at their agreements, the person who received the money is responsible for the full amount of the payment sent plus any fees. And we've established the fee is about 2.9 or 2.99%. Now, a transaction may be reversed or subject to a chargeback if Venmo sends the payment in error, and they even acknowledge that a scammer could send a fraudulent payment, claim it's accidental, and ask that you return their money. Venmo is fully aware of this being an issue, and in spite of that, things like this happen. So what happened to this gentleman over here? He was sent $1,200 by some random person that was a stranger that he doesn't know. And when the stranger reclaimed the money back via a claims process, this left the person who was sent the money with a negative $33.88 balance because the person that received the money doesn't get a refund of the fee, even if they don't know the person who sent it and didn't ask for the fucking payment. Something to keep in mind is that there was no button saying accept payment to hit. There was nothing that that person had to do to accept the money. The money was automatically accepted into their account for them on behalf of Venmo. So he goes to support and he says, my account is frozen because someone I don't know sent me $1,200 and then disputed the charge. I'm being asked to pay a fee by Venmo for the dispute. And he gets to somebody saying, I'm sorry to hear about your concern. Thanks for taking time to contact us. I have no idea who the person is that sent that original money. They said they sent it on accident, which is why they opened the dispute. I'm not a seller and they were not my buyer. They sent the funds to me by accident. Venmo's response: I understand your concern. Even if you didn't know the sender and the payment was sent by mistake, the transaction was sent using purchase protection and was therefore handled under that payment type's dispute process. Based on the account history, the sender later filed an item not received dispute, and after review, the case was resolved in the sender's favor. As a result, the full payment amount of $1,200 was returned to the sender. I also want to clarify that the $33.88 on your account is not a dispute fee. You originally received $1,164.12 because $35.88 was deducted as the purchase protection fee from the $1,200 payment. When the full $1,200 was returned to the sender, the remaining difference resulted in a negative balance of $33.88 in your account. Your account restriction is tied to that negative balance. Unfortunately, support cannot manually reverse the completed dispute decision or override the resulting... There's nothing more posted. There's nothing more to say. What this means is that I could send $1,200 to a random person that I don't know, as long as I know their Venmo username. I can say this is for goods and services. Remember, it's not the person receiving the money that selects this, the sender selects it. So I can select that button. I can then file a claim on them. And if I don't like somebody, I can just cost them $30. If I have $12,000 in my account instead of $1,200, I could send you $1,200, click a button, and then cost you $330. And there's nothing you could do about it because this is how it works. PayPal has come up with a system where not only do they never have to refund fees, even on transactions that are not completed, but they've also come up with a system that actually encourages scammers. If I wanted to fuck with people, I could just send random people money. I could send BlackBerry $12,000, get it back by clicking a button, and then cost BlackBerry over $300. And that's not okay. They know that this is something that people do. They know that this is a scam, accidental payment. A scammer sends you a fraudulent payment, claims it's accidental, and they don't care. Even in Venmo's own terms and conditions, a transaction may be reversed if we sent you the payment in error. So Venmo could have an error, and Venmo's own errors could cost you an unlimited amount of money and liability because you're always the one that's responsible for the fee. It's written right there in their own terms. A company is not going to care about there being scams in their platform if they get paid more money when there are scams on their platform. And what Venmo and PayPal have done is they have set up a system where they make more money as a result of scammers taking part in antisocial behavior. And as long as they make more money when scammers take part in antisocial behavior than they do from correcting it, they are going to continue to turn a blind eye to this and continue to give you access to what is, in my opinion, a fucking AI chatbot when you tell them, hey, I've been scammed. Why are you trying to take more money from me? I don't use Venmo for anything. I never have. I use Zelle with my bank because Zelle never has any fees for any of this stuff, and I don't have to worry about these things. Honestly, at this point in time, if I am told, hey, there's an entrance fee to this party, just Venmo me, I won't go to the party. There are several times where I've missed out on going to a party with very famous people because I did not want to use Venmo for the transaction, and I feel completely validated in that decision. In my opinion, the only reason that Venmo is more popular than Zelle is because Venmo sounds cooler. Venmo. Zelle. Zelle sounds like a fucking zebra. Venmo sounds like what the cool kids use to transfer their money. And this is the price of using the thing that sounds cool. I hope that more people continue to divest from companies like PayPal and their subsidiaries such as Venmo. I have tried to remove PayPal from as much of my business processes as possible. It went from at one point being what I use for about 50 to 60% of my payments to what I use for about 1 to 2% of my payments. And even on those platforms where it's 1 to 2%, I am looking to find other platforms for those specific niche things so that I just don't have to use PayPal for anything. And you know, the biggest lesson for me in all of this, when I was talking about this stuff 4 years ago, everybody said, I'm not a merchant. This doesn't affect me. Why should I care? Well, now it does affect you. If you don't care about an issue because it affects a group of people that are not you, then, well, don't be surprised when it comes around to you and nobody cares. I wouldn't be surprised if most payment processors and most mainstream payment services at this point have taken on or adopted PayPal's stance that they should not have to refund the fee regardless of what the reasoning actually is when the transaction does not go through. And the end result of this is it is much easier to just scam random people with impunity. I hope this person gets back their fee. I hope if this person is taken to collections by Venmo that they fight it. I do not want them to pay the fee, and I hope as many people as possible get as much attention as possible to this because this is just an outright scam. I mean, in their own terms and conditions, they recognize that this is a scam and they don't care. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you closing your Venmo account? I hope you are. Because at this point in time, there's absolutely nothing to stop you from getting scammed out of your money by random people. Somebody else's typo could cost you $30 to $300. That's fucking insane. See you in the next one. Bye now. Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Fucked. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. Today we're going to be following up on some videos that I did 7 years ago, and I wanted to show you what the consequences are when this stuff is allowed. So I'm talking about what happened with PayPal and their fee structure. So PayPal allows you to process credit cards and allows you to send money to people, and when you deal with a credit card, if you're a merchant, you will have a percentage of whatever your customer paid. Why sandy tongue, BlackBerry? Why sandy tongue? Why sandpaper? Ow. Ow. BlackBerry. When you're Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Fucked. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. Today I'm going to follow up on some videos that I did 7 years ago talking about PayPal.